Hi everyone, welcome back to my Python tutorial. In this series of videos we're going to look at Pygame, a third-party module that works with Python to develop games. So we've already started our game. We have a flying drone across the screen. We're going to add more challenges to that. We're also going to refactor our code, which is breaking it into smaller chunks, modules. As it's gotten quite detailed already, we need to do that. We're also going to share the code on github.com, and this will allow you to copy what I'm doing or collaborate with me, which is even better. And I guarantee you the best and quickest way to learn Pygame or Python or virtually anything is to just do it, is to just get in and start coding. Finally, if you get any value from these videos or you like them, please subscribe on the bottom and share them with your friends. Thank you. So the first thing we need to do to keep writing our game, we need to break out the files into something more manageable, because right now we just have two modules. We have the game settings and we have the main module, and in the main module it's getting pretty busy. And this is okay for now, but to build upon this we need to break this out into modules. This is what my main screen looks like after I refactored the code. So right now the main screen, which is the logic of the game, has just this code, a few imports. It runs the initialization and then creates the game loop. Load images is a module that I created to load the drone, and we're going to be loading a boat image as well, which I'll explain later. But everything in this module loads all the screen settings and loads the rectangle settings for the screen and for the images, and does the blitme to load the images on the screen. The game controls does the check events for the keyboards. So when the user presses an up or down keyboard, then this is activated. And then the main program is where I put the logic. So you can see this is a lot simpler, a lot less cluttered than we had before, and now it allows us to focus on each aspect of the game without cluttering this up. Now that we have our code refactored, we're still left with the same basic window and drone flying across. I've put some code in to contain the drone so that it bounces off each side rather than going through. That's done with a very simple routine. This is done in the load images module, and it basically, if the direction is right, then it adds integers to the location center X of the image, and it keeps moving it until it gets past a certain stage, 1100 in this case, and then it goes back left, and it keeps doing that. So the drone gives this image of flying around in the sky. So I've also added another image called boat. If you remember, to create an image, a rectangle around an image, you create the rec variable and you give it all the necessary properties that are here. I've also created a rec b, which is rec boat, so I can load multiple images. And you can see from this that you can add lots of images on the screen, and we'll add a background too in a second. So if we add the boat image, we'll see that we should have a boat at the bottom. And the premise of this game is eventually is to have a drone out in the sea with a boat, and we're trying to land the drone. The drone is out of power and it's ready to land, but we don't want to lose it in the ocean, so we want to capture it in our boat, and we're going to guide it in to do that. So that's our two moving objects. The boat also moves with a simple routine that again checks if it's right, and if it's right it keeps adding until it gets up to a certain point, and then it flips the switch. The switches are saved in the game controls, and they're called via the main program, which is the load images blitme. So this all sounds a little convoluted, but it's really not that common. If this is the while loop, the game loop that the game runs in, so load images, instead we had this originally in this section here, but we took it out and we moved it to the load image module, and all that's handled there. So now we simply call it here, like we call the check events, and when we call them, then it automatically refreshes the screen and moves it. So we'll add one more image on this to spruce it up a little bit, and then we'll focus on the movements. If we go back to the load images section, I added another image for the background. We don't want a black screen. We want to be on the ocean when we have our boat and our drone. So I've added this image, and now you can see it's much nicer. It's obviously a very warm tropical place where our boat is moving around, drifting around in the water, and our drone is also flying around. And the idea of the game is to get the drone to land in the boat without splashing into the water or so on. So we only have a certain amount of time to do that because there's only a certain amount of power left in the drone. So I've added code to drop the drone. So if we line them up, and this will obviously need to be made more difficult as we move along. And as you can see, you can move the go to, and I barely missed. So that's the premise of our game, and that's the basics of it. So to drop the drone from the sky, you simply press the down arrow key, and all the code's here, and I'll comment this and share it on GitHub for you to either clone it to your system or copy the code and paste it. This is the best way to learn at this point, I feel. I'll keep making incremental updates to this program, but I think if you want to learn how to program in Pygame, you should jump in now and make changes and make this work for your preferences. I have made a short video to teach you how to use GitHub with Pycharm. So if you download that video, I'll note it here on the screen. It'll teach you how to go through the steps, and you can clone the repository to your machine. Or you can simply go to my website at pythonforadultsandkids.com and go to the link and download the code and paste it into your application, whichever is easier for you. So I feel you have the basics of Pygame at this point and can do a lot with this program if you download it. To move ahead and get more advanced with Pygame, we're going to need classes and objects. We're going to need to understand that aspect of Python, and I will be providing classes on that shortly, so check those out, and that'll help you take this game and a lot of your code to the next level from there. Don't hesitate to ask questions. Put them in the comments or put them on my website at pythonforadultsandkids.com. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and share, and I'll see you soon.